Okay, so today it's a personal project. I've got 2003 BMW GS 1150 Adventure. So it's a 2003. I already removed the transmission and the rear back end of the motorcycle, maybe, I don't know, 20,000 kilometers ago. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, today what we're going to be doing, we're going to be removing the transmission, but this time around, I'm going to remove the complete transmission with the swing arm and everything. Like, I'm going to unbolt the transmission from the front here up to the back. Last time I did remove these bolts, and I removed the rear drive assembly on the back and the swing arm all separately, because I wanted to lubricate the prop shaft in here. There's a drive shaft, so there's a spline here and the spline at the transmission, but they all been lubed. So this time around, I'm not going to take everything apart. I'm going to remove the wheel, the back end, the seat, the tank, and so the reason why I'm doing this is right now it runs perfectly, just like a brand new, but the reason what I'm doing is I've seen on the net that there's quite a bit of failure on the clutch disc splines, okay? And also, you know, I have lubed it up, but I never really noticed this. But after I looked on the, you know, on places where, you know, they have a lot of information on these type of motors and gearbox. It seems that from the factory, I don't know what is the reason. This is the actual clutch I'm going to be putting in. It's a German clutch, okay? I'm not going to try to pronounce this one here, but it's I guess it's a touring clutch, disc touring, and it's made for the R1150R, RS, RT, GS, and also the R1100S. So this is an oil resistant clutch, and that would probably be the part number, which is 2122454. And this is a German clutch, but what I've done is it's not stock, okay? What I have done, I send it to Bruno. He's down in Ontario, Canada, and so what he does is, see, this hub here is all stock, but it has like rivets, okay? But the issue with the stock clutch is this spline here is closer to the crankshaft, okay? And this part here, I don't know if I can remove that spline, but oh yeah, here, okay. So you can see that these splines, the problem is they're pushed towards the engine, and where the transmission engage in these splines, which is the input shaft of the transmission. The issue is the transmission does not engage completely, maybe 3/4 of the shaft, but there's X amount of millimeters that is not engaging into these splines. So what happened is, after a while, the spline just strips, and then you have to repair the disc and also the input shaft of the transmission. So I'm trying to prevent this. I'm going to be lubricating these splines, okay? But what he did here, he put a shim, okay? So this is the amount that has to be shimmed. I don't know the thickness of it actually, but I'm going to measure it and see how thick this shim is. But this was like a prototype. That was done last year. I got this disc later in the season, so I didn't have the time to install this disc, but I'm going to be putting it for this season, okay? And so we're going to see how good it is, and also I want to see how my splines are right now. I know I had lubed it up. It was like with some graphite type lube plus some wort. It was like kind of a mix, you know. So I'm going to see how the lube job lasted, and so I'm gonna see how my splines are, and if it is really that the splines are not completely engaged. That's what I've seen in a lot of videos. And also I ordered some other parts from the Beamer Boneyard, okay? Beamer Boneyard, okay? So this is, you can go on their net, and if you want some new or used BMW parts, I think I had ordered, I think, this belt from them. This should fit my 2003, which is a 4PK0610. This is a Daco belt. Okay, so this is for my alternator. So I'll be checking my belt to see what kind of shape it is. If it's in real good shape, I'll probably leave it in and have it as a spare and put it in my, I guess, in my panniers, you know, on the side here, you know. All right, and another thing I'm going to be doing, this came also from Beamer Boneyard, is these quick connectors. Okay, these originally from on the bike, they are in plastic and they're real easy to break. And so I had to kind of, when I removed my gas tank once, I think I broke one, and so I had to put a temporary piece here. But this is like a kit for that. And there's another here, like a 90-degree, okay? And it comes with the clips. And these are, I don't know if they're stainless steel, but you know, they're steel. They're really nice, you know, compared to what they are from the factory. So this is what I'm going to install for the gas tank. And these are, I got that also, I got that from, I got them from Cycle Works LLC. They're in Kansas. Okay, so these are the guide pins when you remove the engine and transmission. Okay, so they're like guides. Okay, so you just remove the stock bolt and you put this in, and then it helps you line the transmission and gearbox together. Okay, so I've never used them yet, so that's what I've ordered for that. And also this is a pilot. This is for the okay, so this is for the center of the clutch here. Okay, it centers the clutch disc to the flywheel. Okay, so this tool also came from Cycle Works, and it is made for like 1150s and I think 1100s. I think this one is for the 1150, but I'm not sure yet. But anyway, either end will work. Not, it won't work, but I mean, it's made for, so this tool has a dual purpose. Like it's for two models or different years. And also I got this, I think, from Beamer Boneyard. It was these little Wort feel gauge. They're meant to adjust the valves on these oil heads. So one of them is white for a certain valve. I don't know which one is which there, but anyway, they're meant for the intake and the exhaust. So they're like feeler gauge. You put them on, and then you just make sure that you have your proper alignment. So I thought that was a nice tool to get, and I think that's about it. Also, I got a tool here from Cycle Works. This is a CNC machine tool. Okay, so they're meant for the coil packs. Okay, I have already the tool installed in the coil, and you just pull like this. There is one on the bike when it comes new, but it's a plastic tool and it's not as good or sturdy as this one. So I put a little bit of dielectric grease on the boot here and on the connector. So when you want to install or change the plugs, see, that goes like this. Remove, put the connector back on. That's it. And then there's the cover that hides everything. All right. So I'll start by raising the bike and also putting some tie downs on the on the stand here, the center stand, and also I'm gonna put it on the wheel. And what I did also, I used a tie wrap on the front brake here. Okay, so that blocks the front wheel so it doesn't turn. So when I put it down, so it's gonna help the motorcycle stay into place. so the wheel's not going to move. So that's, I guess, a little trick. And that's about it. So I'm going to be removing all the panniers, the seat, the gas tank. Other than that, I'll show later on what it looks like when it's partially removed. Also, what I also did on this bike, I have a lithium-ion battery instead of the AGM battery that I had originally. And the mileage or the kilometers on this bike here right now is 51,461. So this is the mileage that it's got right now. At around, I think it was 40,000 kilometers, I had an issue with the rear drive here, the bearing let go. And it is quite common, I think, for these bikes. Either they last a long time or they just fail early. So what we found is the shims that shims the bearing, they're too tight from the factory. So it has to be adjusted properly. So it has new seals, new bearing, and before even I replaced the oil in here. I put synthetic oil. Same thing in the gearbox, but it failed too. So anyway, now I have new bearings in there, and then it seems to be running right. So I'll see if I have any movement in it right now, and that's about it. I think I'll start doing some work. And I just want to point out a couple of items that I've installed on my bike since I got it. I think it had 23,000 kilometers when I bought it. It was secondhand. So some accessories that I put on there is the xenon hella projectors. Okay, as you can see. Oh, this one is not plugged. I think I have a wiring issue, but anyway, I think it's under here. When you turn the wheel too sharp, it's a little bullet type connector. It's not tight. Anyway, so I see it there. But anyway, that's what it looks like when you have one light on. And I put also, shut it off. I put also a headlight protector. This is a Touratech protector, and the oil cooler protector. This is aluminum black. I think you can get it also silver. I had that little shield. It's a Touratech shield also, so you don't have the wind in the face as much because the windscreen is not that tall. So I put this extension. It's adjustable. So in order to put these lights, I have bought this aluminum CNC machine bar that bolts under the beak here. There's little shims, and you could put lights on it. Also, I changed the tires. They're the brand Heidno, and I think they're the Scout. They're Heidno. They're made in Germany, and they're the K60. So they're Scout K60. So I put these tires. They're very nice. They ride very well. So you can go off-road and on the street. I have also another set of wheels with Continental TK90, I think it is. So this is the rear tire. It's got like a season on it right now. So same thing. It's got a I know. So that's the match set. I put them at the same time. Also, I put a set of Touratech aluminum box on the sides. Okay, so this one is larger than this one because of the exhaust system. You can get also another model which you put an exhaust below here, and the pannier on this side would be a little bit larger. But this one is smaller, and I just wanted to keep the exhaust at the stock position. And also the rear muffler is modified. You see I've got this pipe, okay? But this muffler is right straight through. So there's a pipe that goes right straight. So there's nothing inside that muffler, but I still have the stock catalytic converter, okay? So the stock catalytic converter is here with the O2 sensor on the front, but the rear muffler is kind of empty. So it has a little bit louder sound, and it removes some of the restriction. So it's not a big issue to have the catalytic converter. I know some people remove them, but right now that catalytic converter is kind of a muffler for me. So I, instead of putting expensive exhaust system, I just modified the stock one, and I left the catalytic converter and also you know, the engine, you know, it runs much cleaner because, you know, you don't smell exhaust fumes and stuff like that because it, you know, has a color converter. Other than that, it had this seat. It was a Corbin custom seat. It's heated on 2 modes. There's a button here on the side, okay, low and high. And this thing moves. You could put it here when you're driving on 2, like 2 up, and when you're driving single, solo. So you have the backrest. And other than that, I think it's pretty much that I can think of that I put on the bike. Next thing I'd like to put is the cruise control here on the end of the handle. That would be nice. That's about it, I think. So I'm going to tear it apart and do the maintenance on it. As you notice, I have it strapped with the orange strap on the crash bars that goes under the lift. And also I have another blue ratchet tie down on the wheel itself and on the center stand. The reason why I'm doing this is when you're working on and the back wheel is removed, it's a good idea because you don't want that center stand to fold back up, okay? So or roll forward. And also what I did, I probably mentioned this, but the front wheel, the handbrake, well, handbrake, there's no handbrake on a motorcycle, but see, I put a tie wrap on the front brake, so it, you know, when it's sitting on the ground there like that, so it's gonna prevent it from moving and also rotating the strap here. So like I said, I have removed the computer on the top, and this is the plug-in for the computer. And I unplugged the O2 sensor plug-in. This is the O2 sensor plug-in. And the caliper is put aside. The container for the brake fluid for the back brake. I have removed the little splash shield here. And what I do is most of the time, if I have a screw that I could re-screw back on the bike, I just screw it a couple of threads like these, so I don't lose them, and also I know where they go, because obviously I'm a Volkswagen technician, but not necessarily a motorcycle technician, and it's not every day that I remove parts off these bikes, so I'm not that familiar. And see the exhaust bolt, I screwed it there, and these are the parts. See the gas tank, okay, this is a big gas tank on these models. And the fuel pump is inside, and the fuel filter is inside the tank like this. And this is the battery that I was talking about. This is a lithium-ion battery. The make is battery tender. So this one, I guess the part number is BTL14A240C. It's a 12-volt battery, and it's got between 10 and 14 ampere. And it's 240 CCA co-cranking amp. So it's a lithium battery. It's a life PO4. So it's a very good chemistry. See these little shims, they come with the battery. Okay, so I had to prop the battery on these shims because the original battery was much larger than this. And as you notice, like, this battery is very light. Okay, so it's very light. I could have probably put I guess it says on the top 51.2 watt hours, and that's probably another rating here. But anyway, so this is the battery tender battery. I could have probably put a larger one. It has no problem cranking the motorcycle. It's just that it's not a type of battery that you would leave the lights on for a long period of time, because the batteries has a lot of kick, but it doesn't have a lot of you know, like reserve. And also, if you notice, this battery has 4 terminals. So I think it's installed like this on my bike, or maybe like this. Like, it's like this. So I use these 2 poles. Okay, this is the positive and negative, but see, there's a negative there and a positive. So it depends on your motorcycle or whatever ATV that you got. So you can install on either side, doesn't matter. And the battery could be upside down, it doesn't really matter. This battery, it's dry, like, you know, it's lithium ion. And so this is the starter. Then again, see, I put these two bolts. I know it comes from the starter, so I put it on there. And I had a problem before on this starter. I had to remove it, and on the cover on the back here, actually, I think it was, I had to take it apart, and where the planetary gears is, I think it's here, and there was like a little dust plate for the grease, and it came loose, and it was arcing, or, you know, it wasn't working right. So I removed this, I lubed everything, and I never had any problem with the starter after that. I don't know why that came loose, and that was the Valeo original starter. This one is made in France. Valeo is a French company. And so this is the rear exhaust with the clamp with the shield on it, the rear muffler. And this is the little mud guard on the back. I removed it because I didn't want to break it. So this is there. This is the catalytic converter with the oxygen sensor. There is a pipe that exists that you know, just remove the catalytic converter, and instead, you know, there's probably like a header pipe, and it goes to 2 to 1. And this is the rear wheel, and I've got the this is the where the battery goes here. And see, I have this clamp. This is the clamp that holds the battery now, because obviously it's not a stock battery. This is the ACU for this bike. And also I forgot to mention, but also another modification that I have on this motorcycle, I've got a K&N air filter. Right now it's all clean. It's drying on this little radiator, so I just gotta put some oil back on, but it's drying right now. All right, so other than that, so I still, you know, my goal here is to remove the back end of the motorcycle. I know in the repair manual they show that you flip the subframe up, so I'll see what is the advantage. I know it's probably less work, but you know, anyway, we'll see. And also I'm planning to remove the whole, this is the transmission here, okay, where you see the shifter, you see the ring gear, the clutch assembly is here, you see the disc. So I guess it's probably a way to see if your disc is worn out. I guess if you remove the starter, you could probably have access from the side here. And also I can see also the spline. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see the spline of the clutch and of the transmission. And it really shows that these the splines, see that everything is bolted together, and the splines are exposed, meaning that the hub on the clutch is towards the engine side. So with the new disc, it will pushes the spline further towards the transmission, and so these spines will be covered. It won't be showing. And I guess if somebody doesn't want to take apart the bike, I guess you could probably spray some lube right on the spline there, because it's, you know, you can see it's accessible when you remove the starter. So probably that would be maybe a quick way to lube it up, like, you know, just a dirty quick way. Also, another modification that I did on this motorcycle, this little cap here goes, it hides the starter, okay? And I put this terminal and a bolt, okay? This connects to the starter solenoid, and on this side there's a stud, okay? So this is always live, and this one is the power outlet. There's a connector, okay? This is like for the accessories, heated vest and stuff like that. There's another one on the top here. So on this motorcycle, there's another one here. It's like a little cigarette lighter, but you need a special adapter for these. Anyway, so I put this here. The reason is because if you want to boost your bike, let's say if the battery's down and you want to boost it or put a charger, then you have a stud to put power directly on the starter, you know. So in other words, you can start it without really removing the seat and accessing the battery from the top here. And especially if it's a stock battery, the battery is quite tall and you can't really access it. So the easiest way is to put a terminal like this. If you don't have the terminal, you have to remove the little cap, and it's not very practical. But anyway, that's one thing that I've done. I'm gonna put this here. Then again, see these little tubes, they collapse and they go inside. If you see this little bit of dirt, so I'm going to clean that with brake cleaner and everything. Everything's going to be cleaned up. Throttle body. Also, I removed the throttle cable, both throttle cable, and I removed the, on the left side handle here, I removed the choke, or the, it's not necessarily a choke really. It raises the RPM of the motorcycle when the engine is cold, and then you could just push it down and then it brings it to a normal RPM. So these parts are here. There's a little wheel here, okay, that goes here, and you've got, this is the cable for the right side, which is shorter, and the other cable here, which is a little bit longer. This is on the left side of the motorcycle, and I'm gonna lube them up. I did not need to remove them, I think, but I'm gonna remove it anyway because I want to lube them up completely, real good. And all this, I'm gonna clean it because it was quite dirty and dry. And this is the choke cable, or high-speed idle cable. This is the one that goes on the handle. Then again, I'm gonna lube it up too. And the mechanism on the top of the handle also. All right, so I'll continue removing I guess the rear shock. And also another thing that I've got, these are studs that are used for let's say Volkswagens, BMW cars, which have they don't have any studs. It's a bolt that treads like exactly like this, and it works really well for BMW wheels because they're kind of a pain in the ass, especially if the bike is on the ground and when you want to line it up. So you put the wheel, these are two guides, so you put the wheel in and then you put the two other one and then remove this after. So that's a real advantage of having these guides. They're the same for, let's say, Volkswagen, BMWs, you know. You gotta choose the correct tread. I think it's a M12 by, I don't know if it's written on it. Yeah, it's M12 by 1.5. So these came in a kit. So I've got one set of 12, I think, and I have two sets of 14, but with different pitch treads. So so that works very good for that. So I'm going to remove, I guess, the rear shock and other things in order to remove the back end of the motorcycle, and then unbolt the transmission. So anyway, but I'd never really noticed that we can see really the splines from here. So it's a proof. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to put more light. See, and I think you can see that there is splines. So this is the spline for the transmission. And obviously, if the clutch would have been engineered properly, the spline on the clutch disc would engage on the transmission input shaft completely. So all right, so I'll remove the clutch and then we'll see from there. Okay, so it's coming along. So I have the back end flipped up. So I elected to do it like in the factory repair manual, and it works real great. Last time I had removed the whole thing, but I think it's much better because you don't have to fool around with the harness and the fender and all this stuff. You know, everything, you know, the harness will follow the frame like this. And I have removed the air box. As you notice, there's these fuel line. This is a fuel pressure regulator here. See these fuel line, these little grommets, they fit into the box here. So that goes like that. So see, there's some groove here. So that is removed, and then there's like usually there was a crimp gear, not the gear clip, but anyway, now it's the gear clip because I have removed this. It's a crankcase ventilation. See, this is the one here, and this is not the stock clip, but it's a zebra clip, which is a real good quality clip. So so I've put this here, and I put these caps on my throttle body, so I don't want anything to fall into the engine. These two caps that I had, and I still yet to remove the slave cylinder for the clutch. So there's only 3 screws, I think. 1, 2, 3. Put that aside. And I'm gonna remove, like I said, I'm gonna remove the complete assembly like this. So I put the bolt for the shock. See, everything had some anti-seize before because I was already there before. The shock, the rear shock is removed. It's there. Airbox, like I said, and also I had put another cap here in case, you know, if something falls into the air inlet here where the air filter goes. So I put this cap. This is a cap from like for a Volkswagen 2-liter TDI. When the mass airflow arrives in the Bosch box, this cap comes with it, and it just happens that it fits real good for that. Okay, and these are the 3 screws. There's one there, and another one here that holds this air box into place. Okay. All right, so I'll continue to remove the bolts, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I have the transmission removed. The back end is split with a tie down, as you can see. So that's what it looks when you have the engine, not the engine, but I mean the transmission and the rear drive as a complete assembly. Okay, so this is the pilot tool that I was talking about. Okay, this one, see, this one doesn't fit because it's too big, but seems to fit on this side. Okay, so this is the old clutch. Okay, and if we look at the clutch itself, I don't know if we can see, but you can see that the splines where the grease would end, it would not go any further. Okay, but it shows even more on the input shaft of the transmission. See, because this transmission I had removed maybe 20,000 kilometers ago. I'm not 100% sure, but see, I had lube the spline. See, everything is lubed properly. It's all tacky. You can feel, but you can feel. See, the splines go up to here, but there's a portion of the input shaft is not supported. Okay, so in other words, there is a part of the spline on this clutch. As you can see, that like there's a little bit of buildup of grease there, and there's a point where, you know, the splines are not even used. Okay, so this is the reason why I removed this this clutch, because the clutch disc is in good shape. I mean, I'm gonna remove it and see what kind of condition it is. Okay, so everything is removed. Like I said, the slave cylinder, this was all lubed up. You can see that it's very nice. So everything was okay, but just preventive maintenance. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't strip that input shaft. And also, when I remove the transmission, when I remove the slave cylinder, this is very similar to the older Volkswagens from the 80s. Okay, it has a push rod. Okay, this is the push rod. So this is the rod that actually, when you push the clutch with your hand, this will push like this, and it will disengage the clutch. But before removing the transmission, I pulled it like this. Okay, I pulled it from behind like this. So I didn't want to bend the shaft, because when I'm removing the transmission, you know, sometimes you know, right now I'm doing this alone. So no, I just pulled it like this. Okay. So also, I almost forgot to unplug this. I think it's the selector, the multifunction switch. It is for the neutral and different gears and stuff like that. So this is the connector that connects it to. So it went pretty good. I started at around 11. Now it's 2:54. I wasn't rushing it. I was just having fun. So as you can see, my guide pins. See, I put one guide pin on the right side here. and there's another guide pin on the right, left. But I'm probably gonna put the guide pin on the top here because there is a sleeve. It's probably where I should have put it, but I'm gonna put it there when I'm gonna install the transmission. So these sleeves, and also it's a good idea to make sure these are clean, and because I can feel that right now they're lubed, because last time I did that, so I had no issues removing the transmission. But if these are not lubricated with anti-seize or something, they can stuck in the transmission housing, like here, okay, and there. And if these are corroded, then you might have an issue removing the transmission because of that. So other than that, that's pretty easy job. It's just gotta unbolt and bolt bolts, that's all. All right, so the clutch is removed, clutch assembly. So I'm gonna clean all of this with some brake cleaner and blow it with air. So as you can see that the clutch is removed, I put some yellow paint here. I thought that it would come out in 2 pieces, but anyway, so the transmission, the clutch is removed. This is only the plate or the ring gear, okay, that stays there. And the clutch assembly, here is see, this is the spring or the diaphragm, okay, and this is the disc. As you can see closely, that there is a portion of the splines that is not used. And again, I'm going to use a little screwdriver just to show. See what I mean? See, this is like the lube, okay? See it, there's about maybe almost the width of this screwdriver, okay, not engaging. So so comparing to the new disc, okay, and as you can see that this disc is bonded and this one is riveted, okay. So there's some rivets. The clutch was in very good shape. I'm gonna save it. See see, this is the shim. If you look at the clutch like this, on this side, the clutch, you know, there's not much difference as far as like look of it. But on the top here, if you put the clutch like this, and on the top, see, this one does not have the shim, and this one does, okay? So you see a difference of quite a few millimeters difference. So it's actually pushing the hub this way in order to engage these splines on the back, okay? So that's the idea of this. And so the clutch was in very good shape. These components, you see a little bit of discoloration, but not a whole lot. See, it's all nice. I'm just gonna sand it just slightly, just to give it a nice surface for the new clutch. And also I have the repair manual on my iPad, okay? So this is see, it's showing installing the guide pins. But I've installed the guide pin on this hole. But next time when I'm gonna be putting the transmission back out, I'm gonna put the guide pin on the top left, bottom right. And see, this is the clutch assembly blown. So it shows all the, and then, you know, the torque spec, you know, tightening torque, housing cover to flywheel, 12 Newton meters, and so it gives you an idea of how to put it back, you know, but it's not that complicated. It's just, you know, you got to follow the rules. Okay, so everything is clean. So I use some brake cleaner on the back here, just to clean the dust. And then again, see, I reposition my dowel pins. The dowel pin, the first time I put it on the bottom here, but it's better to put it here because the dowel pin here supports that guide pin. And also I'm going to lube them up, clean everything here, put some lube on the guide pins, these dowel pins I mean. So the one on the bottom, the one here. And I cleaned the throttle bodies. I did both of them, so they're clean. So I cleaned the top of the transmission, the top of the engine. So that's correct. And I was wondering how thick the shim was, but actually, if I use a caliper here, if you see, this is pretty much flush, and it's about 5 so it's 5 millimeters plus or minus a couple thous, but so I guess the shim is actually 5 millimeter thick to push this hub towards the transmission. And so these two plates have been sanded, cleaned with brake cleaner, and also I sanded a little bit of the disc just to make sure that the shininess of the disc is removed, so it doesn't shudder, or you know. So I just put a little sandpaper. So anyway, so I'm gonna reassemble the clutch pack and show after that. Okay, I wanted to show the clutch pack install. Also, I like my little yellow paint. Is to give me an idea, you know, where, if this assembly is balanced. I'm not sure of that, but anyway, I put some yellow paint here and there, and also I put some yellow paint on the other side. I thought I did. I guess not. Yeah, I think I put some paint here, but I thought it was the part I was gonna remove. Okay, but I didn't put it at the right spot. But anyway, it doesn't matter really. But anyway, this is an assembly. It might not matter at all. And so this goes like this. Okay, the disc is here, and then that plate goes on top, and then you put everything back on the motor like that. Okay, so the clutch is installed. Okay, so everything is lubed. See these two dowel pins, the one on the top left and on the right bottom. So they're lubed. What I use for lube, this stuff I bought it from Beamer Boneyard. It's they call it, I think, spline lube, but it's made for splines and stuff like that. But what I did, I used this stuff, and I used the Wort SIJ 3000. What I do, I use 50%. So I use equal amount of both, and then I mix it on this little piece of plastic. And I'm gonna get my light here. Okay. All right. And you see the spline on the input of the transmission is all lubed up with that stuff. And see the alignment tool is here. See, everything is centered, and the splines are lubed. Okay, you don't put too much, but enough that it will lubricate the splines. Okay, so I did that when I took it apart at first, and it seemed that the grease hold up pretty good. So right now I have some grease on there, and then all these Allen head bolts that bolts the clutch to the flywheel, or the flywheel to the whatever they call it, and these are torqued to 12 Newton meters. So I put here 12 Newton meters, and I put some yellow paint just to show that they were done. And when you tighten these things, you tighten them in a cross pattern. You just a little bit at a time until it hits bottom. And also I put some blue Loctite, some of that stuff here. So that's blue Loctite. And then again, it is torqued at 12 Newton meters. So I guess the next step, and also you got to make sure that this rod here is lubricated properly. Okay, this one, because it's there's some lube on the back, but this one should be okay because I lubed it before the first time that I took the transmission apart. So anyway, next step is to reinstall the transmission, and also I lubed that little dowel pin here. This is the dowel pin for the starter. So I put some lube on it, just make sure that if I want to remove the starter, then it's not stuck. So that's next step. The transmission is going to be on. Okay, so the transmission and rear differential, or final drive, they call it, or I think it's called bevel drive, or anyway, it's not necessarily a differential, but it's a final drive. All right, so with the help with someone, I installed the transmission and swing arm assembly. As you notice, the guide pin is still there on the top left, and I have put the one bolt there, one here, another one there, and one on the bottom, and the dowel pin is still installed. So I'm going to remove those two dowel pins and install, this is the one from the top left, and there's another bolt. This bolt is from the bottom, this one is longer. So I'm going to torque them to about 20 pounds of torque, all of them. And the rest of the installation is pretty much like removing it, but it's going pretty good. Like I said, the and also the this rod here. So right now it's installed in the install position. Okay, so that was all lubed before, and these are the 3 screws for the slave cylinder. So I'm gonna torque everything back together, and that should work right. So I'm gonna bolt the transmission and put the slave cylinder and try the clutch lever, make sure that everything feels right. But the transmission went on very easily, especially with these dowel pins. It makes life much easier. Okay, so the transmission is removed again. Why, you would say? So there's a word of caution here. The tool that I mentioned that I bought, these guide pins, see, it has a M8 thread on one end. Okay, so I had one on the left upper dowel pin, and I had one here. But these tools, it seems that it's like a 2-piece thread. Okay, so what happened is I put my tool to guide it, and then this dowel pin goes into the block. Okay, so I put this guide pin in, and then when I went to remove the guide pin, I did not notice it at first, and then I went to put my bolt into it, and it would not thread. So then I looked, and both, see, it had a different look. This one is just threaded a little bit, but this one is threaded fully. But so this piece, it's like a little sleeve thread, this one stayed in the hole. So I had to remove the transmission and then remove this the dowel pin. Okay, and then use a little extractor here just to back it out. And so what I'll be doing is, for sure for this one, is I'll clean this with brake cleaner, and I'll be putting this stuff here. It's a bearing retainer sealant, and this stuff I think is even stronger than probably red Loctite. So no, I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna clean it and use that. But I guess also it's a caution, and because there is an Allen head on both head. I just snugged it, very lightly, but I guess you're just gonna make sure that it's not gonna be fully threaded. It's just barely, you put it fully, but then when you feel that you're almost at the end, I guess you don't tighten it completely. But and also when you remove it, you just make sure that this piece here is not into it. I guess the factory tool is probably one piece, but this is an aftermarket tool. So all right, so I know I'll putting the transmission back in, and it's just a little thing that happened when you do mechanical stuff, I guess. Okay, so the transmission is reinstalled. I had an issue with these pilot bolts. So now, both of them are there, and I put this bearing sealant. I put some jam nuts, and now they're tight. But I think what happened is one of them had red Loctite and the other one did not. Maybe they forgot to put Loctite on these sleeve, Anyway, so now they're okay now. Okay, another modification that I'm going to be doing is this slave cylinder. See, this is a Maguire. This is like a German brand. And see, it has a little bearing here, okay? But that's not the issue. That doesn't fail that often, I think. I've heard that these slave cylinder, what they do is the seal here just fails, and then you have hydraulic fluid from the clutch in here. Okay, there's a little seal here, but see the rod is not. See, if you notice, the rod is not, you know, precise. There's a little seal. It's made like a felt, like a little felt, so it prevents the piece here from rattling. But let's say if the clutch would fail, all the oil would go in this tube, and then it would go between the engine and transmission. Okay, so what I did, I drilled the hole right here where my screwdriver is. This is the size of hole that I drill. I decided to use big enough so if it ever fails, the amount of oil will flow real quickly. So the oil will not raise up to the that rod, you know. And if you can see from under, you can probably see the hole that I drill. Okay, and you can see it from the side and from the top. You see the hole is on the left side a little bit, but it's pretty much at center. That's the closest I could do with the subframe with the swing arm install, because, you know, there's not a whole lot of room there to put a drill. So anyway, that modification, I think that's good. That's probably a good idea. If it ever fails, plus I have a clutch that says on the disc that it's oil resistant. But in case that it fails, then the oil will just fall here between, right on the back here. And then if it's all wet from hydraulic oil, I know my cylinder is not okay. Or if I see some drips, then I can probably find that it's you know, starting to go bad and change it before it really fails, you know. So that reason, this is the reason why I did that. And then again, I torqued all 6. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolt that holds the transmission to the engine block. And see, I've got that yellow paint again, so meaning that they're torqued. I torqued them at 20 pounds. So that's about it. So I'm reinstalling the slave cylinder right now. Okay, so also I mentioned that I had a new serpentine belt for it. All right, so I had a new serpentine belt. What I did is I removed the cover, okay, that hides the serpentine belt. And also I wanted to check the tension of the belt and also the condition, okay. So this is the belt that I ordered for it. This is an aftermarket one. It's a Daco, but it's the size is 4PK 610, okay, 0610. And the original one is a Conti-Tech, okay, Continental, and it's made in Germany. But as you can see, this one is 4PK 611. So there's a millimeter difference. So this one is a millimeter shorter, which is not a whole lot. And there's enough adjustment to fit a belt like that. And I made sure, you know, the tension was okay. It's not too tight. I know there's a procedure for that. You have to use a torque wrench, and you see there's a gear right there, and that's an adjuster. You gotta, I think, loosen this one, that one, and there's one behind the alternator. This is easy to see now because see the one on the top there. Okay, so it takes a 13 millimeter socket. And there's another one there too. Oh well, that's nut and bolt, that's why. Yeah, no, that's another one actually. So I think there's a one there and one there, but I think this one is fixed. This is only like a bracket, but maybe you have to get it loose also. But anyway, this one of them. And see, I have some adjustment left. You see the little gap there, so it means that the adjuster can lift quite a bit, you know. So the belt, and the condition of the belt is very good. Okay, so I'll just bring a belt with me in case, you know, if it ever fails or something. But I won't change it now because the belt is in very good condition. And so in order to remove this, in order to remove the cover completely, I would have removed this bar. But since I'm not replacing it, I'm just gonna bring it up there. And there's 4 screws like this. These little 4 screws, it takes a 4mm tool, okay, Allen head. And these 4, they hold the cover into place. So it's just to let you know that it's a good idea to have a look at that belt, make sure it's in good shape. Not too tight, not too loose, but this one is okay, so I'm not gonna play with it. It's just checking. Okay, so the cover is reinstalled. Okay, and also I was doing something else on this motorcycle. I was changing my quick connectors. See, this is the 90-degree connector. That one goes for the, you would call it like a fuel balance, because it has a tube under. So it's got a tube here. Just a sec there. Okay. See, it's got a tube on both sides. Okay. So it's got a tube to balance, because it's almost like having 2 tanks. So it's just that when the tank gets lower, it gets lower equal. See this quick connector here? This is a Volkswagen one that I put. Okay, so it's a plastic one, but this is what I put the other day just to you know, just fix it temporarily. So this is what I had put on there, and I'm gonna be replacing it with this metal one. And there's 2 more. There's a feed and a return line. See, these ones, they're plastic. Okay, I'm gonna replace them. I'm just gonna keep them, you know, for spare or something, but I'm gonna put some metal ones like this, so it's much safer. And if you have to remove the tank and you break one of them, then you're stuck. So that's the 2 piece I'm gonna be putting on there. I think I had ordered one at the dealer, one of these, I think on the other side. I think it's on the tank itself. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think this one. Yeah, I think I had ordered one from the dealer. There was a metal one, and this one had broke, so I ordered just only one. But then I ordered a kit, so to replace all of them, to make it more reliable. Okay, so I have installed my new connections. These are the quick connector. So they function like this. I don't know if it's gonna fly or what, but yeah, exactly what I said. All right. Yeah, so these connector, they're kind of spring loaded. So when you connect the hose, connects, and then you push on it and it unplugs, okay? And so there's an O-ring, and they come with spare O-rings, okay? So these are the 2 female connections, and the male connections are on the tank. See, I have the tank here. So this one was one that I replaced. It came from the dealer. It has a different look to the one, but they're the same size, but it's a little bit different here, and a little bit different there, because they have like a nut style, and these ones are round. So that one came from the dealer, and this one came from Beamer Boneyard. All right, they were new. So and so I installed these clip, which it doesn't dig into the hose, okay? And so this one is replaced also. This one is a 90-degree. So that's the hose that goes under the fuel tank, and when you unplug it, so you can remove the tank. So basically you have three connection when you want to remove the fuel tank on a model like this. So you have this one, that's the cross pipe that you know, like I said, these equalize the fuel on both sides of the tank. So there's one side and the other side, and this here is the fuel sender and the fuel pump. It's inside here. And so there's a, I think this is the pressure side. I don't know. Not sure, but anyway, one of them is pressure, one is return, and so these two hoses. And other than that, and this is the one that I didn't use, so I'm gonna just use it as a spare in case I need one. And this one is the one that I removed. This is a Volkswagen part. It comes off from gas and diesel engines. So I just slit the plastic. There's usually a plastic hose. Usually they're either blue or they're this type of color. So I removed this and I just used the quick connector. So I was able to kind of temporarily fix my problem I had because I had ordered this these parts. All right. So the starter is bolted back together. It's bolted back together. The clutch slave cylinder. Everything is bolted. Like I said, I have made a little hole here, a little drain hole for the oil if this slave cylinder ever fails. All right, so I will continue to install all the other parts that I've removed. Okay, so it seems to be a success. I haven't road tested it yet, but seems to be running okay. So everything is installed. So that's perfect. So I just gotta go and road test it and see how it runs.